You know how Wednesday Season 2 has everyone hyped? Well, what most people don't realize is that while the show itself is all about mystery and gothic drama, some of the cast members have their own real-life shadows. I'm talking about controversies that blew up online, personal battles they've been fighting for years, and even scandals that might surprise you. It's the side of the Wednesday cast you don't see on Netflix. And today, we will travel into the darker truths behind the stars of Wednesday. And if we're talking about the darker side behind the Wednesday cast, it only makes sense to start with the face of the show herself, Jenna Ortega. She rocketed to fame as Wednesday Addams, but success came with controversy and pressure. In 2023, Ortega openly admitted she took an unusual level of control over her Season 1 scripts, even changing lines she felt were out of character, an act she herself called almost unprofessional. On Dax Shepard's podcast, Jenna revealed she put her foot down on dialogue that didn't make sense for Wednesday.
Everything that she does, everything that I had to play, did not make sense for her character at all. Her being in a love triangle made no sense.
These comments sparked swift backlash, as some writers and producers felt publicly critiqued.
I just started changing lines. The script supervisor thought that I was going with something, and then I would have to sit down with the writers and they would be like, wait, what happened to the scene?
2 years later, Ortega confessed regret for how she handled it, saying she felt terrible if writers felt disrespected. She clarified that she never meant to insult the writing team and prides herself on professionalism, calling the incident a weak moment. Even Wednesday's visionary Tim Burton defended Ortega, lamenting that in today's media, people will find one thing you say and that's it. The upside of Jenna's outspokenness is that it earned her a producer role for Season 2, giving her more creative input, a rare outcome from controversy. Ortega also faced public backlash for a health-related incident during Season 1's production, which loomed over the Season 2 press. She filmed the now famous dance scene while unknowingly positive for COVID-19. Jenna recalled waking up with body aches and a sore throat on shoot day, later learning it was COVID. Fans erupted in concern and anger upon this revelation. Many questioned why an obviously ill actress was allowed to keep working on a crowded set, calling it highly irresponsible. On social media, viewers condemned the decision. She should have been isolated, not made to keep working while feeling ill. Critics argued that forcing Jenna to perform while sick put others at risk and was so negligent of the producers in studio. The production company insisted strict protocols were followed, and that Ortega was removed as soon as the positive test was confirmed. Still, the incident cast a shadow, painting the otherwise dedicated young star as an unwitting figure in a safety controversy. While Jenna's controversies highlight the pressures of being young in Hollywood, some of her co-stars have faced much deeper and more personal battles away from the spotlight. Catherine Zeta-Jones, who brings Morticia Addams to life, is a perfect example. Her glamorous public image hides years of struggle with mental health and intense scrutiny on her private life. Catherine has bravely spoken about her battle with bipolar II disorder. In 2011, after enduring a period of intense stress, particularly her husband Michael Douglas's grueling fight with stage 4 throat cancer, Zeta-Jones made headlines by seeking treatment for bipolar disorder. Friends noted she had had an extremely stressful year, standing strong for her husband in public while privately feeling the strain. The actress later revealed she faced wild mood swings and bouts of depression. "I don't just bring myself down, I bring everyone around me down. It's like a dark cloud," she admitted of her lows. Checking into a facility to stabilize was a courageous step that opened up conversations about mental health. In fact, Catherine's candid disclosure helped destigmatize bipolar disorder in the press. She has since undergone periodic treatments and emphasizes that managing mental illness is an ongoing battle, not a one-time event. Beyond mental health, Zeta-Jones has weathered other turbulent moments. The paparazzi scrutiny on her marriage, with a 25-year age gap, was relentless. At one point, personal pressures led Catherine and Michael to briefly separate in 2013 so she could focus on her well-being. Fortunately, the pair reconciled. Catherine has also endured public intrusion into her privacy. Even her decision to go public with bipolar was partly forced after a fellow patient leaked her presence at a treatment center. Through it all, Zeta-Jones has shown remarkable poise. She continues to shine on screen as Morticia, even as she carries the knowledge that real life can be far less picture-perfect. And while Catherine has fought her battles with health and public scrutiny, her on-screen partner faced a very different kind of storm. Luis Guzman, who plays Gomez Addams, didn't make headlines for his private life, but for the backlash over his very appearance in the role. Veteran actor Luis Guzman brings humor and heart as Gomez Addams in Wednesday. But when his Season 2 return was announced, Guzman found himself at the center of a fan backlash rooted in superficial expectations. When first-look photos of Guzman as Gomez were released, some die-hard Addams Family fans complained he didn't fit their image of the suave, debonair Gomez from prior adaptations. There was a cruel undercurrent to the criticism. Many comments argued Luis wasn't handsome enough, even veering into fat-phobic territory regarding his stout build. Online detractors questioned how the glamorous Morticia could believably love this shorter, rounder Gomez, blatantly forgetting the source material. Guzman's supporters quickly pushed back. They pointed out that Luis is a faithful match to the original Gomez, drawn in Charles Addams's cartoons, who was indeed short and rotund. In fact, aside from the 1990s films which featured a dashing Raul Julia, most Gomez depictions have been average-looking men with extraordinary charm. Fans noted that Guzman embodied Gomez's spirit and charisma, which matter far more than a chiseled jawline. The initial backlash soon gave way to a wave of appreciation for Luis's comics-accurate portrayal. Defiant in the face of shallow criticism, Guzman embraced the role on his own terms. "How are people complaining? He looks like the actual OG Gomez," one fan tweeted in his defense. By the time Season 2 rolled around, much of the noise had subsided and viewers praised Guzman's loving chemistry with Zeta-Jones. Outside of Wednesday, Luis Guzman's life has thankfully been free of scandal, but not free of struggle. He grew up in Puerto Rico and New York's Lower East Side amid hardship, later channeling those experiences into authentic performances.
Angry boy, a bit too insane. Icing over a secret pain. You know you don't belong.
Over decades in Hollywood, he's faced typecasting and stereotyping, but he carved out a niche as a reliable character actor. Luis showed how an actor can rise above shallow criticism, but not every cast member's struggles have been so simple. Take Fred Armisen, for example. On screen, he's the quirky and lovable Uncle Fester, but off-screen his personal life has been far more complicated, marked by messy relationships and public controversies. Fred has long been celebrated for his humor, but he's also earned a reputation for troubled relationships. His short-lived marriage to actress Elizabeth Moss ended in 2010 amid emotional fallout. Moss later described the marriage as extremely traumatic and awful and horrible, hinting that Armisen's behavior left deep scars. In an unusually candid Howard Stern interview, Fred shockingly agreed with the harsh assessment of his failings as a husband. "I think I was a terrible husband. I think I'm a terrible boyfriend," Armisen admitted bluntly. He confessed to a pattern of rushing into intense relationships and then getting freaked out after a year or two. "I feel bad for everyone I've gone out with," he told Stern, owning up to the pain he'd caused. It's rare to hear a comedian drop the mask, but in that moment, Armisen laid bare a personal darkness, a self-professed inability to sustain the very love and stability his on-screen characters often parody. Armisen's relationship troubles weren't the only shadow. During his SNL tenure, he sparked a public controversy with his portrayal of then-Governor David Paterson, who is legally blind. In a series of sketches, Fred depicted Patterson as a bumbling figure who wandered into camera frame mockingly.
"Is the governor David Patterson?"
The real Patterson and advocacy groups blasted the sketches for ridiculing people with disabilities, calling them offensive and in poor taste. Armisen and SNL were forced to defend the intent, eventually toning down the impression. It was a stark example of humor crossing a line, and Fred became a face of that debate. While not canceled, he had to confront that his comedic choices could hurt people. Through divorces and public missteps, Armisen has been frank about trying to change. At 56, he remains a prolific entertainer and returns as Fester in Season 2, but carries the knowledge that his private life has been messy. In a way, his chameleon-like ability to adopt personas might hint at an internal struggle to find his authentic self. Fred Armisen's story exposes a darker truth. The man known for inciting laughter has also caused real pain, both to others and it seems to himself. Fred's struggle showed how comedy can sometimes hide real chaos. But the next cast member's story is even heavier. Steve Buscemi may be best known for his quirky roles, but his real-life past includes trauma, heroism, and scars that go far beyond Hollywood. His real life harbors a harrowing chapter, largely hidden from the public eye. Before acting, Buscemi was a New York City firefighter, a job he heroically returned to in the wake of the September 11th, 2001 attacks. For days, Steve worked at Ground Zero, digging through rubble with his former firehouse crew in search of survivors. He rarely spoke of this experience for years. Then in 2021, Buscemi revealed he had been quietly suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of his 9/11 volunteer efforts. The normally stoic actor admitted that in the aftermath he felt utterly overwhelmed. "I was depressed, I was anxious, I couldn't make a simple decision," he recalled. Nightmares and flashbacks of that war zone haunted him long after the rubble was cleared. "It's still with me. There are times when I talk about 9/11 and I'm right back there," Buscemi said. his throat tightening with emotion. The toll of bearing witness to so much death and destruction left an indelible mark on his psyche. Steve eventually sought therapy through an FDNY-linked program to cope with these unseen wounds. Buscemi has also stared down other dark moments. In 2001, while filming in North Carolina, he nearly lost his life in a barroom brawl. Stepping in to break up a fight, he was stabbed in the face, throat, and arm by an assailant. He survived after emergency surgery, scarred but alive. In true form, Buscemi kept the incident low profile, not glamorizing it. He later joked that the faint facial scars merely added to his character actor mystique. Moreover, Steve endured the loss of close friends over the years. For instance, the death of his Sopranos co-star James Gandolfini hit him hard. Through it all, Buscemi remained professional and kind, known to shun Hollywood pretension. His decision to speak publicly about his PTSD after 2 decades was itself an act of bravery, using his voice to support other first responders suffering in silence. As he brings his talent to Wednesday, audiences see a beloved actor, but behind those distinct eyes lies the soul of a man who has truly walked through fire and come out fighting. And this is the end of today's video. I hope you like the content that I collected for you. Subscribe to the channel and put a like. Have a good and productive day to everyone. Bye.